and welcome back to Literally Yours. Today we are going to study the poem uh, A Doctor's Journal Entry for August 6, 1945, written by Vikram Seth. So, before we begin, without knowing anything about the poem or the poet or the context, if we just write the name of the poem, what are the questions that we can have that are coming to our mind while we are reading the title of the poem, A Doctor's Journal Entry for August 6, 1945? I think we can divide this into three major questions. The first one being, why a journal entry? Or maybe we can even ask, what is a journal entry? Then the next thing that will come is, why again a doctor? Why a doctor? And the last, and I think even though it is the last question that comes, that is the most important question that should come. What happened on August 6, 1945? Right. So if we start from the first question, we'll start addressing the first question, and as soon as I give you the answer for these questions, you'll automatically understand the context of the poem on your own. So first thing, why a journal entry, or what is a journal entry? First, let's go from the basic. What is a journal entry? You might have come across journals or a diary entry anywhere at any point of your life. You might have come across, maybe either through A Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, and if not that, maybe you have yourself written down something in your diary, a personal experience about a certain day, be it a happy or a sad moment, right? So diary entries are very personal writings that a person writes about their daily lives. So whatever, any major event that happens, or even maybe a minor event that happens that has caused any kind of emotion in that person, they can write a diary entry. Journal entry and diary entry are similar. I would not say one and the same, but they are similar in the sense that both have very personal feelings written in them. So what is the difference between a diary entry and a journal entry? Diary entries are fully textual, and journal entries, maybe they can have more vivid descriptions using pictures or some kind of visual elements. That is a point of digression, I would say. Let's just focus on the fact that journal entry is a very personal experience that a person is writing down in their journal about their lives. So that is a very important point to be noted regarding the poem's context. That is a very personal and very impactful incident that has been described over here in the poem. Second, why a doctor? Why not any normal person, layman just walking down the street, or maybe a teacher, or maybe a student? Why not them? Are they not important? Obviously they are, but a doctor's perspective kind of plays a very crucial role when we go into the in-depth line by line analysis of the poem. You will see that the doctor's perspective is very much important for the message of the poem to, go out for the audience. So the helplessness that a doctor might feel at a certain point of time, that is the key thing over here to keep note. And then the last question, which is, what happened on August 6, 1945? Why is this date important? So if you have studied in history, August 6, 1945 is the day on which America dropped the atomic bomb, the first and the last atomic bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan. So this was during the World War, and I think you can say towards the end of the World War, this incident shook the world in such a way that after that the war had to stop, because the level of destruction, the level of calamity that happened because of that one incident uh, is unimaginable to us right now at this moment. So August 6, 1945 is a very important historical date. I've already explained that on this day, America dropped the atomic bomb, Little Boy, on Hiroshima, Japan, and it caused a lot of destruction, deaths, calamity for the people of Japan. So given that, I think the context, as I said, as we keep on answering these three questions, the context will be clear to you. So this poem was written by Vikram Seth to propagate an anti-war sentiment. So this poetry can be termed as an anti-war poetry. So any poetry that is written to raise awareness against war or against the senselessness of war, to be exact, that those poems are called anti-war poems. So Vikram Seth wrote this poem to propagate the message that war is just a senseless thing and it causes only harm. There is no party in a war that gains from it. There is only destruction, there is only loss. And the image of a doctor who is responsible for saving lives, a doctor going through such helplessness when the bomb has dropped, that is what that emotion is what has been expressed in the poem, a doctor's journal entry for August 6, 1945. So before we begin, a few pointers just to keep in mind. The doctor is the speaker, okay, of the poem. So the poem will be, when you read the poem, you'll see the poem is written in the first person. So when the poem says I, it actually means that the doctor is saying, or the doctor is actually writing it down in his journal. So doctor's persona is very much important over here. The helplessness that he feels, it is actually not only his own personal experiences. He's actually speaking for the whole crowd. He's speaking for all the people. So let's, without any further delay, let's just begin with the analysis of the poem. So you can find this poem, if you have your textbooks, that would be very nice as you follow along. So the poem can be found on page 17 of your treasure chest book. So let's start the line by line analysis. So the first line, as it goes: the morning stretched calm, beautiful and warm. So the poem starts in a very, very calm, soothing manner, and we'll see how actually the tone changes as the poem progresses. You'll see the tone changing, the speed changing. You'll feel the emotions along with the doctor as he goes through all the experiences. You will feel as if you are yourself expressing all these emotions that he is also going through, right? So the first sentence says, the morning stretched calm, beautiful and warm. So as I said, that it begins in a very soothing manner, and it is talking about an August morning which is supposed to be warm. It is supposed to be very calm because it's the morning time. So you can imagine, if you are able to imagine, just think that you can hear birds chirping. It's early morning, right? It's dawn, so it's birds chirping outside. Very less noise is there. Okay, people have not yet woken up, have not yet started their day. So it is a very calm, beautiful and warm morning. And then he says, sprawling half clad, I gazed out at the form of shimmering leaves and shadows. So the doctor is relaxing. The word sprawling actually means relaxing. So he's sprawling or relaxing, half clad. He is not wearing a lot of clothes. It's a warm morning. It's you can consider it almost as a summer. Okay, so in tropical countries they do have an elongated summer, as we all know, right? So they are having it's a warm weather, so that's why the doctor is not wearing a lot of clothes, just an undershirt or a vest and just one boxer or an underpant. So he's half clad. Half clad means wearing only a set of underclothes. That means just a vest and a pair of boxers or just an underpant. And while he is relaxing on, and we can assume that he's in his bed, on his bed, in his bedroom. So while he's relaxing there, he says, I gazed out at the form of shimmering leaves and shadows. So we can imagine probably the doctor is looking outside the window and he's seeing shimmering leaves, shining leaves and shadows that are forming. So it is early morning, so the trees, the leaves of the trees, they are shimmering in the sunlight, and obviously the leaves are also causing a lot of shade or shadows. So he's able to visualize that, he's able to see that from his window. We can imagine that. It's not written, but again, read between the lines and understand that a doctor is probably relaxing on his bed, and from his bed maybe he can see outside the window and he's able to see the forms, okay, all these shimmering leaves and the shadows. Now, just notice in the next line how the tone changes. So he has used the word suddenly, and obviously when you are also imagining and you automatically read the line, suddenly a strong flash just in front of your eyes, you can imagine that there's a strong flash passing by. So suddenly a strong flash, then another, startled me. So he while he was looking outside the window, we can imagine that all of a sudden there is a strong flash, and then again repeated another flash. So one flash after the another, and it startled him, it shocked him. Startled means shocked. So obviously when you are in a relaxing mood and you are looking outside, okay, the weather is very calm and beautiful, you are not in a state that you'll be able to perceive a lot of fast actions. But then all of a sudden, if something really fast zooms by or passes you by, you will be shocked, you will be taken aback, right? So he's also having the same reaction. Moving forward, I saw the old stone lantern brightly lit. Magnesium flares? While I debated it, the roof, the walls, and, as it seemed, the world collapsed in timber and debris. Dust swirled around me. In the garden now, and weird, my drawers and undershirt disappeared. Though why I'm reading this all together, because it is supposed to be read all together, you cannot stop anywhere in between, because all of this is happening all together. So you can imagine all of these senses that are happening. He was in a relaxing mood, all of a sudden everything changes, he's startled, and all of a sudden everything starts happening one after the other. There is no way that you can stop to uh, you know uh, perceive or process what is happening. So even it is written in the same way, it is written in a form of a monologue. You cannot pause over here. That's why no pauses are also over here. So you can imagine what kind of chaos it might be for a person who was just moments before just relaxing on his bed, and right now everything changes, right? So to explain, when he saw the flashes, he actually thought whether they were magnesium flares or not. Now magnesium flares are actually stick like things. You might have for Indian context, you might have seen in Diwali there are stick like things that are used to light up. So it is a similar kind of thing, this magnesium flares. It's a stick which is I guess it is made out of magnesium, and it is used to indicate some kind of danger or some kind of signal. So when this flashes came one after the other, um, his logical mind is thinking that maybe they are magnesium flares. I'm not sure. So he's not sure himself, but he's debating it. Okay, so he's thinking whether they are magnesium flares or not. But while he is debating it, all of a sudden, his in the room, you can see the roof, the walls, and it seemed to him like when the roof and the walls collapsed together, for him it seemed as if the whole world is collapsing. So this is a hyperbole over here. We'll discuss about the poetic devices after we stop at a part. For him, okay, who was just moments before relaxing on his bed, the roof and the walls collapsing, all of a sudden, it felt as if the whole world is collapsing around him. So he cannot process it in such a quick time span. Everything just collapses. That's why he's saying that it felt as if the world collapsed. And how did the world collapse? The world collapsed in timber and debris. So timber is pieces of wood. Pieces of wood, and debris is just rubbish, okay, or you can say torn or broken parts. So he saw that the concrete walls and roof, they broke down, they collapsed into debris, just rubble, which is just rubbish. You cannot distinguish one part from the another, that this was the roof or this was the wall. Okay, everything just collapsed into a pile of rubbish, a pile of broken wood pieces, right? So, and obviously, because of this falling down, all these heavy things falling down, the dust swirled. So dust was swirling around. Swirl is moving, right, so around me. So he was in his room, and because of that walls and the roof collapsing, he finds himself with the impact thrown into the garden. He was sitting in his room, and now all of a sudden he finds himself in the garden. So everything around him is just collapsed, dust is swirling, and he can find himself in the garden now. So he says, and weird, my drawers and undershirt disappeared. So because of the impact, you can say whatever happened, we are not yet made aware. And actually, to be if you see till the end part of the poem, we do not know what exactly happens, because it's a journal entry of a doctor, of a person, and he doesn't know, the character doesn't know what has happened. He's trying to make sense. That's why he's writing it down, so that he can remember what exactly happened. So he doesn't know what has hit them. He doesn't know that the atomic bomb has been dropped. So for him, everything is just chaos and confusion. So he finds it very weird that his drawers, which is his underpants, and his undershirt, his vest, they disappeared. So he's not wearing anything anymore. He was anyways half clad, but now due to whatever has happened, his drawers and undershirt have disappeared. So the next few lines: my right side bled, my cheek was torn, and I dislodged detachedly a piece of glass, all the time wondering what had come to pass. So, when I think I missed a line, I'm very sorry. Here he says, after that, my drawers and undershirt disappeared. He said, a splinter jutted from my mangled thigh. So he's in the garden, he's sitting, and he saw that there was a splinter, a piece. Okay, so splinter here means a piece of wood, I can say, because just before this he had said that the walls had collapsed. So splinter here is a piece, a broken piece of wood. So one of that timber pieces, a splinter, is now jutted from his mangled thigh. So jutted here means stuck. It is stuck inside and mangled means injured, heavily injured for that matter. Okay, mangled means everything is just it's so much injured that you can see the muscles, you can see the sinews, you can see the nerves. Okay, everything is just mangled, it's just chaos over there. Okay, it's a heavily injured place. So his thigh is heavily injured, and from that heavy injury he can see actually a piece of wood sticking out. So you can imagine the kind of pain that he might have been in, right? So, and then he notices, my right side bled, my cheek was torn, and I dislodged detachedly a piece of glass, all the time wondering what had come to pass. So he realized that his right cheek had cut. Okay, there was a cut on his right cheek and it was bleeding, and his cheek was torn because of that cut. Okay, and I dislodged. Now he is saying that I was dislodged, I was displaced from my from my room. I was not in my room anymore because there was no room, to be very honest. So he was dislodged out of his place, and he was detached. He didn't understand why he was dislodged and detached, and in that state he compares himself with a piece of glass. If you drop a glass, okay, the million pieces that will scatter around, okay, they will be dislodged and detached from the original piece, right? So he compares himself with a piece of glass that has been broken and scattered, and he is not able to understand why though. Okay, so he's saying all the time wondering, while he's sitting there, he's heavily injured, he's comparing himself with a detached piece of glass that has just been broken out of its main piece, right? He's wondering what actually has happened. He still doesn't know that what has happened to him, why the walls collapsed, why his clothes disappeared, okay, why he was sitting in his garden heavily injured, what exactly happened that caused so much of trouble for him. Not only his physical surroundings got destroyed, but also he is heavily injured. So in this first part of the video, we are going to stop here for the line by line analysis. Now let's directly, although while explaining I have discussed here and there a few poetic devices that the poet has used, but let's again in detail discuss what are the poetic devices used by the poet, right? So let's start from the very beginning again about poetic devices. The morning stretched, calm, beautiful, and warm. The very first line is a personification of the word morning. Morning has been compared to a person, okay, who is stretching out, calm, beautiful. Okay, so morning has been described as calm, beautiful, and warm, but the morning stretched, that is a personification. So the first poetic device is the morning stretched, and it's a personification. Then he saw there is an alliteration in the third line: shimmering leaves and shadows, suddenly a strong flash, then another startled me. The S sound is being repeated. So if I will not write the full thing, I'll just write down shimmering, and the last one, last line, shimmering leaves till startled me. This thing is called alliteration. If you need help with the poetic devices, let me know. We can maybe have a separate video discussing all the poetic devices in general with some examples, right? So alliteration, actually, to just give a brief revision, alliteration means when the consonant sound is repeated in words that follow each other in a line to give it a musical or a rhyming quality, right? So if you see here, shimmering S, right, shadows S, suddenly S, strong S, startled S, the S or the S sound is being repeated, that's why it's alliteration. Then uh, the next one is actually one of the most important poetic devices used. As it seemed, the world collapsed. So the world collapsing, the world is actually not collapsing, but for him it is. It's an hyperbole or an exaggeration to show the kind of destruction that is happening. The world collapsed is a hyperbole. Then um, we have um, so I think we are done for the first part. As I'm reading, I do not find any other poetic devices in here. So from line number 1 till line number 14, we have analyzed the lines, what it means. I've given you the meanings of the words, and also I have discussed the three major poetic devices that have been used uh, by the poet in these 14 lines, right? So in the next video we'll be covering the few more lines ahead of this, so we'll directly jump into the lines in the next video. I guess this poem will be covered in around 5 or 6 videos, and at the end, the last video will have some important questions, as well as in the description of that video you will find the notes that you can use for your answering, a detailed note. You will find the link over there. So that is all for this video, for this lesson. I hope you'll be joining me for the next few lessons that we cover on a doctor's journal entry for August 6, 1945. Till then, keep learning. Have a nice day.